Super Mario Galaxy 2, yet another sequel I'm reviewing on the channel before the first game. Mario Galaxy 2 has got to be one of the best sequels to any game ever. You take everything that made the first game good and just expand on it, make it better, add in new ideas, and polish them out just as good as the first game. Galaxy 2 does all of that. But there's been a debate for several years from which game is better, Super Mario Galaxy or Galaxy 2. Both of these games are incredible. It seems everyone is in an agreement for that. Both of these games had probably the biggest impact in my life as a kid. Now, this is the first Wii game I'm reviewing on the channel, so I can let you guys in on a little Ninblasto lore. The Wii was my very first console. This is the first game I'm reviewing on the channel that I have a big amount of nostalgia for. Out of every game I've played, these two games, along with Mario Kart Wii, are the games I have the most nostalgia for. My earliest memory is my 3rd birthday, and by then I was already playing Mario Kart Wii. The Galaxy games I got whenever I was 5 and 6 respectively. And what I didn't know until recently is that Galaxy 2 released only a day after my 3rd birthday, which is why I decided to release this video on the 22nd instead of the 23rd, because it's on my birthday. And I'm turning 18 on top of that. So playing one of my favorite childhood games on my last days of childhood left was awesome. I even got Galaxy 1 signed by Charles Martinet himself, and that was a day I could never forget. I planned on making a video on the first game before I did with the second one, but sadly the disc is so scratched that I couldn't get past the intro cutscene, so that was devastating. Sure, I have 3D All-Stars, but come on man, if I'm gonna make a video about a game I played as a kid, I'm gonna play it the same way I played it as a kid. Almost the same way. I played these games so much as a kid. I even got all 120 stars in Galaxy 2 as a kid, but I sadly ended up losing the game whenever I unlocked the green stars. And we ended up moving before I could find it, but thankfully we lived at my grandma's house, so if we ever visited her, there was a chance that I could find it. And fast forward to 4 years later, and that exact thing happened. In September of 2020, I finally found it again, and popped it in my Wii U, and replayed it from scratch. This was also shortly after Mario 3D All-Stars released. By then it was 2020, and Super Mario 3D All-Stars had just come out. Everyone, including myself, complained about Galaxy 2 not being added, but funnily enough, I was replaying Galaxy 2 at that time, so that's a funny coincidence. I got all 120 stars again, but just like whenever I was 8 years old, I stopped playing after I unlocked the green stars, and didn't pick it back up again until February of 2024, which was last year. So technically, it took me 11 years to 100% Mario Galaxy 2, but that was over a year ago. I'm gonna 100% complete the game without any breaks, and this time around, I'm gonna play it on my Wii instead of my Wii U. This isn't my childhood Wii, because that one has weird brightness issues and refuses to read some discs. So I'm going to be playing this on my primary Wii that a couple friends gave me a few years ago. And before we start, I want to introduce you guys to a friend of mine, who will be talking about the game with me. Give it up for the fellow small YouTuber, The Game Wheel.
Sup y'all, thanks to Blasto for letting me on, and giving more views to those small YouTubers.
So let's finally pop the game in and start the game. With 3D Mario, the controls were always something important. Most of the time Shigeru Miyamoto spent making Mario 64 was making sure the controls in that game were perfect, and it absolutely paid off. Every time I replay the game, I always just mess around with the controls just for the fun of it. Then Sunshine came in and adds a whole new layer of possibilities with the FLUDD device, with even more moves than ever. And then Galaxy comes in and approaches a more linear control style. You can still long jump again, thankfully, something that was removed in Mario Sunshine for obvious reasons, but now it's back. And even though the controls may sound underwhelming at first, It absolutely pays off because Galaxy takes a step forward on focusing on level design instead of controls. And speaking of the levels, bam, you got the staff team battling it out over who has the best ideas that can be thrown into a level. Every single mechanic and idea has been stuck in my head for over a decade every single day. And then with Galaxy 2, they were planning for this game to just be DLC because they still had a few ideas left. But then more ideas just kept coming in at an overwhelming amount that they made it its own game. And on May 23rd of 2010, Mario Galaxy 2 released. And it received just as much praise as the first game. It has now been 15 years since Mario Galaxy 2 released. So let's see how well it holds up now. Never in my life have I made a save file in the Galaxy games and it not be Yoshi. Just look at my save files in 3D All-Stars. Anyway, moving on.
The game's story is essentially the same as the first Galaxy. You know, the Star Festival happening once every 100 years, except it's happening again for some reason, which means this guy is 100 years old. So Mario goes to Peach's castle to celebrate with her and the Toads, just like in the first game.
Then Bowser crashes the party and kidnaps Peach. But he's now beat the Giga Chad allegations and is now past 6 foot. And he takes her to outer space to become the ruler of the universe. There's Lumas from the first game who are trapped in these crystals that Bowser sends down, and one of them turns into a launch star for us to chase after Bowser.
Welcome to the first level of the game, Sky Station Galaxy, where everything feels the same for the first Galaxy, but now there's even more levels to explore. And the first level does a great job at teaching you the controls, even though Blasto just skipped right past it. Mario has a spin move back from the first game because he encountered the baby Luma again, and could use it to attack stuff and gain a little height when using it in the air. It is also very important for the movement of this game, which I actually really like, so I'm glad they decided to include it again in Galaxy 2.
And this level also introduces the first boss, that being Pee-wee Piranha. I knew who these guys were before I met the goat Petey Piranha. We attack his dump truck and get our first star, and it takes us to this planet that has seen better days.
We meet a new character named Lubba, who tells us that Bowser attacked their spaceship. Yeah, this planet we're on is actually their spaceship. Lubba says Bowser attacked and stole all their power stars, so we agree to help him since we're also after the princess, and with the power of the singular star we collected, Lubba changes the look of the spaceship to Mario's face, and this effectively serves as the hub world.
Also, want to hear a massive hot take? Lubba over Rosalina. Am I right? Anyway, Starship Mario has gotta be one of my favorite hub worlds out of all the 3D Mario games. Peach's Castle and Delfina Plaza are awesome, but Comet Observatory was a little underwhelming. But Starship Mario goes back to those original roots and is just so much fun to explore. And now that we're out of the tutorial, we can finally talk about the levels in the game. Of course, we're not going to talk about all of them, because that would result in this video never ending. But we are still going to unpack a lot. The ideas in this game are just top notch. Right on the second level, the game introduces us to Yoshi, and he wasn't in the first game, so we all know that that alone makes the first game inferior.
In some levels, Luigi will appear, and he'll offer to find you power stars, meaning you get to play as him. But only in the levels he offers to help you in, which is random, but hey, at least I don't have to find every single power star in the game just to play as Luigi, right?
You got new power-ups, like the spin drill, for Mario to go through the ground. They brought this back as a power-up in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. You got returning ideas like trees that you can launch to defeat enemies, the bee mushroom which turns Mario into a bee, and can fly around for a short period of time. The Octoombas that were in the first game got a massive glow-up. They no longer do this little Hawk Tua type thing, and now charge up to shoot a projectile at you. And now there's green ones that shoot 2 of them.
You get the Cloud Flower, which gives Mario 3 clouds to use as platforms, and makes his jumping much more floaty. I love cloud physics.
You got the Rock Mushroom, which might just be my favorite power-up, because just look at this thing. I'm Sonic!
I love Yoshi. Yoshi adds a whole new layer of level design by letting him eat enemies and fruit, swing onto the flower swingy thingies that never got named, and Infinite Flutter, which Blasto will likely explain later.
Flipperoni and cheese, rolling on a ball, snake blocks, monkey challenges, super fast Yoshi, big balloon Yoshi, glow in the dark to see invisible pathways Yoshi, an ultra big level where everything is ginormous and cool, and cosmic Mario clones that follow your every move. So I love having fun with these guys.
You have the comet medals that are in each level, which gives the comet appear, and which is a challenge within a level to get a new star on one of the worlds from the previous stars.
We have been talking about so many ideas, and we're not even a quarter away from talking about them all.
There's a lot of amazing ideas in this game, but one I personally don't like too much are the Flutter levels. I don't know if it's because of the levels themselves or because of the controller, but as you can see with the footage on screen, none of that matters to Blasto, because he's just cracked at the game.
And can we talk about those visuals, man? Oh my gosh, they look so good.
This and the first Galaxy game are some of the best looking Wii games. Comparing this game to Mario Sunshine graphically is a night and day difference. Sunshine only ran at 30 FPS. Meanwhile, the Galaxy games run at a smooth 60, despite the Wii only being slightly more powerful than the GameCube. And personally, I like the more realistic style of Galaxy better. I think it looks really good for the orchestral tone of the game. So I think it looks good in all aspects.
And I've only seen it drop frames in about 2 or 3 levels, and that's it. The character models also look way better in Galaxy than they do in Sunshine, and are higher poly. Just look at Yoshi. He looks incredible compared to how he looked in Sunshine. In the level Slimy Spring Galaxy, it's a mossy cave full of water and it just looks so beautiful. And once you reach the end of the level, you're hit with the most beautiful visuals I've ever seen in a game that uses 1998 technology. And can we talk about that music? Oh, this is so good. You got this Woody's Roundup type song.
Galaxy was the first game in the Mario series to take an orchestral approach, to capture the atmosphere of being in outer space, and it absolutely delivered. But they didn't refrain from using happy and cheerful music other games in the franchise used either. Galaxy 2 follows in these footsteps with incredible tracks, but now the happy cheerful music got an upgrade. Just listen to the song from Galaxy compared to its new version from Galaxy 2.
You got tracks like Spin Dig Galaxy that go and then you got Space Storm Galaxy that's just the soundtrack is just perfection. And Galaxy 2 brings back ideas from older games too. The level Hytale Falls has major inspiration from Butter Bridge in Super Mario World, with the same music and everything. You got Starshine Beach, which has major references to Mario Sunshine. It's tropical, it has piantas, and even has them throw you up in the air, as a reference to everyone's favorite level in that game. In all honesty, the Chuckster level really isn't that bad.
You have the slide mechanic from Mario 64 with the same music and everything, and it now controls significantly better. I definitely prefer actually putting your legs on the slide instead of like sliding down like on a playground. It feels a lot better, and being able to jump and stuff, it feels great. And best of all, you have Throwback Galaxy, which is a full-on remake of Whomp's Fortress from Mario 64. This is by far the coolest, except for one Galaxy maybe. But you also get the red ball bombs and the platforms that push you off.
Look closely at the walls here. You may notice that they're chipped, as if someone blasted away the walls. And you fight the Whomp King here, who has the exact same dialogue he had in Mario 64. And something I always thought was cool is that the more you progress in the game, the farther away from Earth you get. World 1 just shows that you're high above the clouds on Earth. And in World 2, you can see all the other planets in the solar system. And then in World 3, there's nothing but cosmos and stars. And in World 4, you can see the Milky Way. And then in World 5, you see many other galaxies across the sky. And finally in World 6, you see a black hole.
And the more you progress through the game, the more Starship Mario begins to populate, making it feel much more alive than ever. And just like with Mario Galaxy, the music of Starship Mario actually slowly grows as you progress.
It's little details like these that fill me with joy. As for the bosses in this game, they're quite fun. Nothing challenging as all Mario bosses are, but they have fun ideas. The bosses at the end of each world especially. In the odd number of worlds, worlds 1, 3, and 5, you fight Bowser Jr., who is in this floating Eggman looking device. In World 1, he sends his dragon, Gobblegut, who you defeat by popping his pimples. Then in World 3, you fight easily the best boss in the game, Mega Hammer. Bowser Jr. assembles his Eggman looking thingy into this robot, and you defeat him by eating these bullet bills he throws at you with Yoshi, and spit them back out at his glass protection. Beautiful boss. And at World 5, the level starts with a section where you can see the robot's remains. Captain Toad and his brigade, characters I haven't talked about at all in this video, are investigating it. But once we do reach Bowser Jr., he has a new device that is ginormous, and the only way to defeat him is to use the Cloud power-up to break the glass on top. Wonderful bosses. Nothing hard, but very fun nonetheless.
And then with Bowser fights in World 2, 4, and the final fight being in World 6, they're all the same, except now he has new moves each time you fight him, just like the first game and in Mario 64. Bowser sends you onto a planet where he flies around and tries to hit you with a giant punch. He sends down meteors and a whole lot of other attacks, and you gotta wait till he sends the meteors up and then punches the planet so that they turn to ground poundable mini planets, and then you have to ground pound one into Bowser to hit him.
These are pretty fun, but I think the Bowser Jr. fights win for having more ideas. Both the Bowser and Bowser Jr. fights give you a Grand Star, and these are used to open a portal to the next world. However, the Grand Stars are the reason why Bowser is as big as he is in this game, because he eats them, which makes him grow. And once they get removed from him, he goes back to being his 5'4" self. And sadly, it's time to wrap it up and finally beat this game. This level throws many ideas that were in the game. You float down with this rose that was introduced in the first Galaxy game. Then you use the spin drill power-up to drill away from these bonsai bills.
Then use the Cloud power-up to climb to the top of the planetoid. Then use Yoshi to defeat the Boomerang Bros for Moses to part the lava sea to Booster.
That was always the coolest moment in any video game. Then you ride these snake blocks to platform on each other to avoid these lava blargs. And then you sadly have to leave Yoshi behind to climb onto the pole and open the gate to reach Bowser. Amazing final level.
Peach is in a little bubble-like prison, and Bowser sends us off to the planetoid where the battle starts. The fight of course starts the same way as always, with some harder attacks.
And when you defeat him, that's it. Well, I guess we'll just grab this final Grand Star and... Whoa! You hear that music? Ooh, so good. Look at the background. Ooh, it's so good. This is going to be the best final phase of all time.
That's it?
Yeah, the final phase is sadly pretty bad. The setting and everything is absolutely perfect, but it's just painfully easy.
You just ground pound the spheres and he's dead. Sure, Galaxy 1 had a pretty easy final phase too, but at least it was one that was extremely fun. Here you just press A and then press Z.
Peach is saved, we fly back to Starship Mario, Rosalina stops by to say thanks for watching over the baby Luma she lost, and Mario and Peach can finally go home in the Mushroom Kingdom, and the credits roll. This has got to be one of the best credits in any game ever. You can walk around and interact in the places that are in the credits, and it's very fun.
But we aren't even halfway done with this game, believe it or not. After the game, we unlock Luigi, who we can play as any time now instead of just when the game feels like giving us the opportunity.
Again, this is way better than just unlocking a full-on separate campaign where you have to play through the whole game again as Luigi, instead of just switching to him on the fly, on the same save file. And we unlock a whole new world with new levels. World S. So now we can finally 100% complete the game.
I also played through most of these, so you're gonna see a difficulty score for each of the levels here.
Our first galaxy here is the return of 8-Bit Mario, who is just as easy as I remember him being. And 8-Bit Luigi on the Comet. This is where the purple coins are, and honestly, it's way easier than people say it is. And the second level is the Rolling Ball, which is way easier than I remember it being. You have the easy path and the hard path, and you all know which path I go to.
The Comet is the same thing, but now with purple coins. You need 100 and there's 110 total, but it was nothing too hard.
Next up we have Twisty Trials Galaxy, and this is a full-on recreation of that one level from Mario Sunshine. This level coming back is actually very cool, and is a lot easier than I remember it being. Seems to be a trend here.
The Comet, on the other hand, was a little hard with some deaths here and there. It's the same thing, but now with Yoshi, and is much faster than before. You slide a lot easier when it's faster, so I actually struggled a little bit with this one. Wait, am I crazy? Twisty Trials. This didn't have Yoshi, I don't think. Yeah, this didn't have Yoshi. This is the wrong level that you're thinking of, so cut that out and use this.
Then we have Stone Cyclone Galaxy, which is a planet that was in the first Galaxy game, but only as a separate star, in Beach Bowl Galaxy. And this is where I had the most deaths so far, because I thought it would just be cooler without pressing the switch to slow down time. But eventually I did beat it.
The Comet for this level is the same thing, but now it's time-based, and so you have to pick up as many timers as you can in order to complete the level with enough time. Honestly, I found this easier than the original star, but both of them were really difficult, and definitely had the most deaths.
The next level is Boss Blitz Galaxy. You fight a gauntlet of bosses that were in the first Galaxy game. You start off with Dino Piranha, who is just as easy as I remember him being. And then it's King Caliante, where you spin out the coconuts to home back in on him. And the next boss fight is Major Burrows. And all you gotta do is ground pound and attack him as he's trying to escape. And the next boss is Bouldergeist, the boss who used to scare me as a kid, despite always coming back to the level to fight him because he was a very fun boss, and still is in this game. You spin to grab the Black Boo's tongue, and swing him around to hit Bouldergeist. Still one of the best bosses in the game. And last but certainly not least, is the fiery version of Dino Piranha, who is much more nerve-wracking because he is still easy, but it's also easy to mess up if you miss the timing, since he's constantly being covered in flames. But with all the bosses down, we can finally achieve the Power Star. And the Comet here is the same thing, but time-based. It would be a lot cooler if it was a Daredevil Comet, so that you have to do all this without taking damage.
And now, we finally move on to the final level, Flip Out Galaxy. This one will test your wall jumping and spin stalling skills, having many platform sections for you to spin to activate the different colored panels and walls. It's really well designed and actually really fun, and even though it was pretty easy, I still had a really good time playing it.
The Comet here is even cooler, because the Cosmic Clones spawn in and chase you, and it definitely adds to the difficulty, but after playing around with them, we can finally achieve our 120th star.
Green Lumas appear on Starship Mario, and we're told that we have to beat the game again first. So we do that, but this time with Luigi, of course.
And I decided to challenge myself by using the glitch that makes Yoshi infinitely flutter by fluttering, crouching in midair, and fluttering again. The timing is really strict to do it consecutively. The reason why I decided to do this is because Yoshi can't climb poles, and you're supposed to climb the pole to reach Bowser. But as a kid, I always wondered what would happen if you brought Yoshi with you. And today, I'm finally going to achieve my childhood dream. It took me a very long time, but eventually I finally did get it. The cutscene is a little messed up, but that's okay, because we can finally start the fight with Yoshi. Sadly, I couldn't get Yoshi on the final phase, but hey, it was very cool to see this nonetheless.
We see a cutscene where Rosalina tells her Lumas a story about the Green Comet, and here, every single level in the game gets a green prankster comet. In other words, there's 120 more stars to get in the game.
I would go over all of them, but this video is already longer than I thought it would be. So instead, you're going to watch a montage of me collecting each and every single green star. People on the internet always say how hard this is, or that it can be very tedious, but honestly, I had a lot of fun doing this. So enjoy the montage.
I'm here to go beyond my limit, not to compromise. And you can tell me if I mean it, looking in my eyes. Cause I've been waiting for my moment to strike. So come close, let me show you what it's like. Yeah, you can try to stand in my path, but you're gonna regret it. I'll be the one who laughs last while I'm making my exit. Cause this is only for the strong of heart, not if you get it. And no matter what the outcome, you better accept it. I can cut like the shell, I can bury the flag. So don't doubt for a second, just get out of my way. Push it in your steel, I'm not letting it go. So take this as a lesson, cause it's all that we know. Will the whole world know your name? When we dance with destiny. I've been there and I've seen it. I'm never gonna stop believing. You'll find your flame. Oh, we can save the day. Not die. It's like I'm seeing double vision. Take a seat, I'm on a mission. We got everything to gain. To become everything you're not. You just give it all you got and take the pleasure with the pain. Yeah, I can feel my fire awaken. No time for being complacent. There's a dream on the horizon. You know we gotta chase it. And when we get to where we're going, then we start the invasion. That's me? Nah, you must be mistaken. You know I'll turn you into rust. Grind you right down to dust. You thought you were the best. Well, you haven't met us. Fire and rain. Call me the hurricane. I'm not letting it go. This is all that I know. Will the whole world know your name? When we dance with destiny. I've been there and I've seen it. I'm never gonna stop believing. You'll find your flame. Now here we go, it's the end of the show. Hear them, they're calling your name. Cause in the end, it's you and your friends. You'll find your Now here we go, it's the end of the show. Hear them, they're calling your name. Cause in the end, it's you and your friends. You'll find your flame.
240 stars. What does this unlock? the Grand Master Galaxy. This level will test your skills you learned throughout the Galaxy games, but even that is pretty easy. However, the comet for this level is where things really begin. It's the same thing, but now you only have one life. The perfect run. This is where the game will truly test your skills. I had about 30 deaths here, so it truly is the ultimate test. You will die a lot, but eventually, you'll also finally beat it. And Rosalina is there waiting for you at the end, thus ending not only Mario Galaxy 2, but the Galaxy games as a whole. Rosalina now appears on Starship Mario, and all she says is thanks. And this begs the question, is Mario Galaxy 2 better than the first game? Absolutely!
The only thing Galaxy 1 has over 2 really is the story. Rosalina's backstory is the reason why many people say the first game is better.
But here's the thing about me. I like it when games have stories. If there's a story I like, sometimes I fall in love with it. But I don't think a story carries a game. It's always the gameplay that matters. And that is why Galaxy 2 is better. Because it blows the first game out of the water despite the first game already blowing your mind. I give Galaxy 2 a 9.9 out of 10. That is the highest rating I've given a game on the channel so far, and I don't know if it'll even be passed. The only thing stopping this game from being a 10 out of 10 is the final boss. If it was a bit harder, or at least a bit more fun, then yeah, this would be the perfect game. But sadly, no game is perfect. And with that, we have talked about everything we wanted to with this game. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.